A racist cop mocked a black man at a gas station, not knowing he owned the entire chain. When the truth came out, it led to one of the most powerful civil rights cases in the state. Watch this two-part story about pride, dignity, and reform. It was a Friday night in Montgomery, Alabama. The city buzzed with weekend traffic and the scent of rain in the air. At a small gas station off Highway 80, Derek Coleman pulled up in his dark blue pickup truck. He wore a plain gray hoodie, jeans, and sneakers. His face was calm, his posture relaxed. He had stopped to refuel, grab a bottle of water, and check on one of his stores, a routine he did every week. To anyone else, he looked like an average man ending his shift. But what no one knew was that Derek owned the very gas station he stood beside, along with 43 others across 3 states. He was the CEO of Coleman Fuel and Mart, a business he had built from nothing after years of working at a mechanic shop and saving every dime. That night, though, he wasn't the CEO. He was a black man in a hoodie at a gas pump, and that was all the wrong eyes needed to make a wrong judgment. A police cruiser rolled into the lot. 2 officers stepped out. Officer Trent Harris, tall and confident, and his partner, Officer Clay, who seemed newer and quieter. They had been responding to a suspicious person called. A cashier from a nearby store had reported a man hanging around too long at the pumps. Derek was simply checking the lighting around the property. Officer Harris approached it. "What are you doing here, man?" Derek looked up from his phone. "Checking on my station." Harris smirked. "Your station? You mean this gas station?" "Yeah," Derek said calmly. "Right," Harris replied, chuckling. "Let's see some ID then." Derek handed him his driver's license. The officer barely glanced at it. "So, what's a guy like you doing hanging around here after hours?" "I told you," Derek said, still composed. "This place is mine. I'm the owner." Harris's expression changed slightly, from suspicion to mock amusement. "You own this place? That's funny. You don't look like someone who owns much of anything." Clay shifted uncomfortably to Trent, he muttered. "Maybe check the name on the door?" But Harris ignored him. Derek sighed quietly. "Officer, if you step inside, you'll see my name on the license and the permits." Harris laughed. "You got an answer for everything, huh? I've been on the job 15 years. I can tell when someone's lying." "Then you should be better at your job," Derek said calmly. That hit a nerve. Harris's voice hardened. "You want to repeat that?" Derek didn't flinch. "I said you should be better at your job, because you're about to make a mistake." Within seconds, Harris grabbed Derek by the arm and pushed him against the side of the truck. Clay tried to intervene. "Trent, stop. He's not resisting." Harris snapped, "Back up now." People inside the store pulled out their phones. Derek stood silent, refusing to struggle. He spoke quietly. "This station has more cameras than you can count. You're recording a mistake that'll cost you your badge." A white SUV pulled up. The woman driving looked alarmed. She jumped out and shouted, "Mr. Coleman, are you okay?" Everyone froze. The officers turned. "You know him?" Harris asked. "Yes, he's the owner." "What are you doing?" she yelled. She was the district manager, Laura Kent. She ran over, showing her company badge. "You're assaulting the CEO of Coleman Fuel and Mart." Harris's grip loosened. He stepped back fast. "CEO," he muttered. Derek straightened his jacket. His eyes locked on him. "Do you believe me now?" The younger officer looked horrified. "Sir, I'm so sorry Derek interrupted. "Save it. The cameras have everything." He turned to Laura. "Call my attorney. Tonight." She nodded, trembling. Harris tried to explain. "We got a call about a suspicious man. You match the description." Derek's reply was cold and measured. "The only thing I match is your bias. You saw a black man in a hoodie and assumed he didn't belong. But I built this place. I employ 50 people who put on that same uniform every day." Harris looked at the ground. The silence was crushing. Within hours, the footage went viral. The video of the cop mocking a black man, only to find out he owned the business, spread across the country. Headlines read, "Racist cop detained CEO at his own gas station." Man arrested for owning the wrong station, while black. The department suspended both officers pending investigation. Derek didn't speak publicly for 2 days. When he finally did, it wasn't with anger. It was with conviction. He stood before a crowd of reporters outside the station, wearing a suit this time. I built these businesses so people in my community could work, earn, and grow. He said, last night, I was treated like I didn't belong here. But I do, and so does every person who looks like me. His words hit hard. He paused and continued, this wasn't about me being the owner. It was about what some people still refuse to see. That success doesn't have a color. 3 weeks after the gas station incident, the city of Montgomery was still talking about it. News anchors replayed the footage nightly. Commentators debated police bias, but Derek Coleman stayed quiet. He was planning something larger than a statement. Inside his downtown office, he sat across from his attorney, Angela Price, reviewing the lawsuit papers spread across the table. Will file under civil rights violation, assault, and defamation, Angela said. They're already on edge. This will hit hard. Derek nodded. This isn't about money. I want accountability. They think a man's worth is measured by his clothes, not his character. That has to stop. Angela understood. Then we make this case public. Every deposition, every record. No more silence. The lawsuit landed on the desk of the city attorney. The next morning, the headline ran across every major paper by noon. Business owner files civil rights suit against Montgomery PD. The department scrambled for damage control. They suspended Officer Harris without pay. But internally, some officers defended him. They said he had acted in good faith. That statement enraged the public. Protesters filled the streets, holding signs that read, "Bias is not good faith. Stop judging before you ask." When the mayor reached out to Derek privately to settle, he refused. He said, "This won't go away with a check. It ends when they admit what they did was wrong." The courtroom was full the day the case began. Reporters lined the benches. Cameras flashed. Officer Harris sat stiff in his suit, his partner Clay beside him, looking visibly shaken. Across the aisle, Derek sat calm, hands folded, watching the proceedings. Angela Price opened. Your Honor, this case is simple. My client was humiliated, profiled, and assaulted for existing in his own business. This wasn't policing. This was prejudice. Then came the body cam footage. The courtroom went silent as they heard Harris say, "You don't look like someone who owns much of anything." Harris dropped his head. When Derek took the stand, he spoke without anger. "I've been stopped before," he said. "I've been questioned before, but never like this. I built these gas stations with honest work, and that night I was treated like a criminal for being in the wrong skin." His voice stayed steady. "My son saw that video online. He asked me, 'Dad, why'd the police hurt you?' And I didn't know how to answer him." The courtroom stayed quiet. Even the judge looked moved. The defense tried to argue the officers had reasonable suspicion. But Angela pulled out the business registration and pointed directly at Harris. "Is this your client's signature?" He nodded reluctantly. "And the name on the property deed?" "Derek Coleman," he admitted. "Then what reason did you have to treat him like a trespasser?" Harris hesitated. He looked out of place. Those 4 words ended the defense's argument. After 2 days, the jury returned. They ruled in favor of Derek Coleman. The verdict declared that Officer Harris had violated Derek's constitutional rights. The city was ordered to pay damages, but Derek's reaction surprised everyone. He refused personal compensation. Instead, he directed all settlement funds toward a new community training center for officers called the Respect Initiative. The center's mission: teach racial sensitivity, cultural awareness, and ethical decision-making in policing. Months later, the Respect Initiative opened. Derek stood beside city officials, officers, and reporters. To everyone's surprise, Officer Clay attended. After the ceremony, Clay approached him. "Mr. Coleman, I'm sorry for not stepping in that night," he said quietly. Derek nodded. "It takes courage to admit that. I hope you help make sure it never happens again." They shook hands. Harris resigned before disciplinary action could proceed. A statement from the department confirmed he was no longer employed. But Derek didn't celebrate his downfall. He told reporters, "This isn't about destroying someone. It's about rebuilding the system that destroyed trust." His calmness impressed many. Within a year, 5 nearby police departments requested training under the Respect Initiative. 6 months later, Derek visited the gas station again. It looked peaceful under the night lights. Customers greeted him warmly. A man approached and said, "You gave a lot of people hope. You didn't let anger take over." Derek smiled. Anger burns fast. Change lasts longer. He looked at the pumps, the lights he once checked as a simple routine. Now, each one stood as a reminder of a moment that could have broken him, but instead built a movement. He turned to leave, hoodie on again, calm as ever. This time, when a cruiser passed by, the officer inside waved respectfully. Derek nodded in return. The world had changed, even if only a little.